The question often arises to paint or not to paint. My particular preference is not to paint because I like the raw state. But today I'm going to show you how to prepare the gate for an oil finish. First of all, as you know, that this is not mild steel, it is wrought iron. It's a special metal, not to be confused with mild steel. The last piece of this made was in 1974. It's sad to see this material being thrown onto scrap heaps, which it shouldn't be. First of all, we're going to have to clean it and make sure we're making contact with the metal. We can use a wire brush. Now, I find these lads great, but they're very heavy, very strong. In this particular instance here, I prefer to use something like that. This is kind of, I think, a little softer bristle on her. Okay. And so we're going to go and do a section here, and I'm going to clean it. And you can see the oxidized rust coming up. That in itself is a protective layer for the metal. Provided this is kept in a dry place, that's as far as the moisture is going to go. Plus, as I said earlier on, when this bar was last made, it was run through a rolling mill. In that process, as a hot bar running through the rolling mill, it developed a thing called mill scale along here, like little scales that have been pressed into it, into the metal itself. So that acts as another protective layer. So what we're going to do then today is add another layer to it. If you want a good result, the time spent on preparing the surface is vital. There is no point in adding anything, i.e. the oil or a paint, if you have not prepared this surface properly. Around these rivets is a place where moisture will congregate. So we're going to have to be extra. I'd be moving away from heavy wire electrical equipment because what you're trying to do is, for me, protect that surface, keep it in. And you get some guys who want the galvanized gate, which is a no-no to me, because all of this evidence is lost in galvanization. As I said, watching out for areas where water will lodge. And here's another area at the back of those here, and we can see a bit of breakdown here. And this is my other preferred little tool. And we go at poking at that. I won't spend too much on it now, but poking at that to remove the rust that's trapped in there now. And as you know, when rust expands, it pushes things apart. Having done that, and again, we'd spend a bit more time on it, we give it a wipe down. And I'm going to use white spirit then just to wash it down and make sure we have good contact for the oil on the surface. So I'm washing this down, and particularly around areas, as I said, where moisture is going to lodge. Now, white spirit will hopefully evaporate fairly quickly. And while that's drying out, can I just show you the two options we're going to use? One is, I don't want to be pushing brands, but this is a paint conditioner and rust inhibitor. And it lays out the paint, or helps lay the paint out nice and evenly. Plus, it also inhibits the buildup of moisture. This is my preferred option in terms of the conservation and the maintenance, really, of the gate. So, plenty of oil, and we're going to rub it on here. And make sure again, and if we have to use a paintbrush to push it into those corners, we'll do that. And you asked earlier on how often. Well, I suppose if you wanted to do it annually, you could, but say biannually or that would be fine. So it's just keeping an eye on the gate. And I said the main things are to hang the gate, don't have vegetation or mud or that laying on the gate, because anything that makes contact like that will hold moisture. Yeah, I'm just going to use the brush here as well to get into some of those areas here. So this is a finish in itself. That'll dry out virtually invisible, but you'll know it's there, and it's working away, or it's sitting there and inhibiting the buildup of moisture in it. So that's a good finish, keeping the gate in the raw state. Now, this is vegetable oil, right? And that does the same thing. It's much cheaper. And I'd use it before you cook the chips. So it's relatively cheap. You can use it. And I'll just Water don't like oil. So again, I'm just going to show you here. We're going to move it on to the bit that they've done here. So I'm just going to do a quick recap on this. What we have here is a wrought iron gate, not to be confused with mild steel, and there's another bit up here, and a special material, unique. And these gates, like particularly the field gates, are unique to this country, are very unique to this country. First of all, we've got to clean the gate thoroughly. And we're using scraper and a wire brush. And once that's done, we wipe it down, and then we wet it down or clean it with some white spirit. And then we apply either the expensive option, which is the moisture inhibitor, or an ordinary vegetable oil. And they're both going to do the same thing. And voila, there is the gate.